Are we excited for our guest
Yes, we
today?
are. How's it going, Jerome? You there?
Hey, yep, I'm here. I'm excited as well. Love the sound of my voice.
Nice, nice.
Awesome.
Great voice.
Thanks for joining us. We've been wanting to have you for a while.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
So we usually start this segment off with the news that was for the past week. And there's two main items, in my estimation, that happened over the past week. And one is the Goblins junk process. And then the other is that the public beta has commenced for the FIFA AI League. Sam, any word on either of those?
Yeah, I uh, had to do a little testing. I junked some things, um, for the cause. But yeah, it was really fun. Good process. Um, I don't have an Android, so I can't currently play the AI League, but it looks like it's
I'm
been
in the
really
same
fun.
boat.
But yeah, I really enjoy the content that they've been putting out, and I actually did get the chance to play it, so it was actually really cool. But yeah,
Okay, well, now let's move on and hear from our guest for today. Jerome, tell us about yourself and tell us about Immersive.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. Jerome Faury, founder, CEO at Immersive, New Zealander. Been involved in payments and tech now for almost 25 years. Predominantly startups, but I also, for a period of time, ran the largest tech company in New Zealand, or at least a New Zealand business for it. I've been involved in blockchain / Web3 since, well, over 6 years. Originally involved with Centrality. Aaron, Dan, and I guess some of the OGs from Futureverse in early 2017. Immersive and Centrapay are two companies I founded. So two of the 8 companies, I guess, in the roll-up that create Futureverse are ones that I've been intimately involved with that specialize in payments. Centrapay on the acceptance side. So it's a digital acceptance network that enables any app, including Web3 apps or similar, to transact anything, including crypto, on any device, including payment terminals, point of sale, Coke vending machines. Immersive is my latest venture. It's on the issuing side. So payments is a two-sided marketplace. You have acceptance and you have issuing. It provides an issuing as a service platform that supports both centralized and decentralized payment experiences. It's a crypto native platform. Immersive is what they call a principal member of the Mastercard network. That means we have our own bin range, so the first 6 digits of a card. It means, like banks, I guess, can sponsor parties to issue branded cards. So if you think about airline branded cards that are co-branded with banks, Immersive can also sponsor other parties into the Mastercard network. We settle directly with the network. It's crypto end to end, and it's basically an API first platform. So we provide APIs for wallets, dApps, any kind of Web3 infrastructure and smart contracts to transact in a trustless way anywhere Mastercard's accepted. And then we also provide centralized offerings for exchanges and other parties that want to do their own branded cards, but obviously the centralized party approving or declining the transaction as opposed to the end user. It's a multi-chain protocol, currently runs on Polygon, Ethereum, and working with Root Network. And the plan is to add support for multiple chains, or at least any chain that supports USDC in the short term.
In the recent roll-up of the Futureverse, Immersive is one of the companies that is part of the roll-up. Can you discuss how that process has been and where you see Immersive's role in the Futureverse?
Cool. So I think there's a couple of things, right? So Immersive's long-term strategy is to be the PayPal of the metaverse. So when I got into payments, and this is sort of back in the 90s, what you did is what we did more to the point as a innovation back then is integrate point of sale systems with payment terminals so that people didn't need to, or checkout operators didn't need to manually enter the amount and miss keying errors, and saves time at transaction. Then in sort of early 2000s, you started integrating shopping carts with payment gateways. Then you integrated parking machines and vending machines. Then you got into sort of mobile payments, give or take 2008. And for me, as clear as day, I can see the future of payments, being in this metaverse, right, where physical and digital commerce collide and overlap. And I can see my children having these immersive payment experiences, obviously, underpinned by XR with Web3, where people own their own assets, and there's a bunch of new type of economic models where participation and rewards are got generally given back to the community as opposed to shareholders and big tech and all that kind of stuff. And so with that lens on it, what we want to do with Futureverse is to partner in a way that sees us provide the rails to enable probably consumers to transact in open metaverse infrastructure. So that means businesses and brands that want to accept payments by card can do so, and it'll be a whole bunch of new rails, right? There's no payment terminal, there's no keypad, do pin, all that type of stuff needs to be built out. And the other thing is immersive is also a new type of off ramp. So crypto is 1 trillion plus kind of industry. It's typically pretty easy to buy crypto. It's a lot harder to spend your crypto. The user experience is awful. If you look at trying to spend crypto out of your Web3 wallet, generally you have to move it to an exchange. The exchange then moves it to a bank. Then from the bank you move it onto a card, and then you can buy something online. There's lots of parties that clip the ticket. There's lots of different network fees, and then unfortunately there's been a bunch of bad actors. FTX being sort of the obvious one. That means that there's a lot of distrust in sort of doing that process. With Immersive, we enable a really elegant and easy consumer experience where instead of having these on and off ramps, there's a bridge. And so you can transact directly from your Web3 wallet without trusting Immersive, without trusting an exchange, without having to involve a bank. And you can basically really easily and in real time spend your crypto. And so what we want to do with Futureverse is a whole bunch of innovations and partnership, obviously getting our protocol running on Root Network and providing these new type of payment experiences that are very consumer centric and align with the values of Web3, moving towards more metaverse type payment experiences.
Awesome. Over the past few weeks, there have been several developments. In the US specifically, there was a collapse of a couple banks, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank among them. Your product seems to solve some problems in relation to the need for businesses to use banks. Do you have any opinions on the banking system's current state and what possible market fit Immersive could have in that mix?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of considerations here. First off, with Immersive, you don't need to involve a bank, right? And so we're dealing with some pretty large exchanges that are looking to use our platform to issue their cards. And even though these are large, regulated, stable tier one entities, in some cases they can't even get bank accounts. Let alone get a bank to be able to give them the ability to sponsor them into the network to issue their own cards, right? And so with Immersive, we can enable exchanges or crypto companies to issue cards without needing to involve fiat or without needing to involve a bank. And so that's kind of cool. I think also from consumers' perspective, there's 1.7 billion people who are unbanked in the world. And I think there's kind of two reasons that you generally need a bank account. One is for payroll, and the other is if you borrow money from a bank to buy property. I suspect in the future, we're going to see a couple of things happen. One, pretty much every person on the planet is going to have a Web3 wallet, and they're going to have some sort of digital currency or digital assets, right? Whether it's NFTs, STOs, central bank digital currencies, stable coins, and crypto, right? So I think that's going to happen. I think people are going to start being paid in crypto. I think people potentially are going to start earning income via crypto, particularly through gaming being sort of the obvious sort of lead there. With regard to borrow money, I don't think you're going to necessarily, for a bunch of people, they won't borrow money from a bank, right? They'll have their Bitcoin, their ETH, or other digital assets, NFTs, that they can use as collateral to get a loan, or like you get interest on a bank, you can get yield. And I think the user experience is going to get a lot easier for people to do that, and everyday people do that. So if I can start earning in crypto, borrowing against that crypto, earning interest on that crypto, then the next thing you need to be able to do is to spend that crypto, right? So if I can then connect my Web3 wallet to the Mastercard network, and I can spend anywhere Mastercard's accepted, then do I even need a bank from a consumer perspective? And that's where I think things will start to get really interesting.
That is interesting. I would say a very large majority of my payments in real life are via credit card at vendors that accept MasterCard. So, I mean, that's definitely interesting. Somnia, did you want to ask any questions? And also, I want to invite any members of the audience, if they would like to ask a question or have a comment, please feel free to request to join the stage.
Can we dive a bit more into MasterCard and how it kind of came about, the partnership, and how it might work in practice and some of those benefits?
Happy to. I've been involved in payments for a very long time. One of the things I did actually was I put the first direct link into Visa for a non-bank in the world, and for a long time I was a Visa fanboy. For people that don't know, Visa is one of the OG decentralized businesses. It started out in America as Bank of Americard. It was owned by Bank of America. In those days, this is late 50s, banks couldn't operate in more than one state, so they set up this franchise model where other banks in other states could issue Bank of Americards. It changed when they expanded into the UK, and Barclaycard said, hey, look, we're not going to do a Bank of America branded thing, we're going to do a Barclaycard. And so they set up Visa EU, and they did that. And this guy called Dee Hock, who unfortunately passed away recently, but prior to that, he was doing a whole bunch of stuff in Web3. In the 70s, he ran the Bank of Americard program. And he convinced the Bank of America board that in order for this card program to realize its potential, they couldn't own it anymore. It needed to be decentralized. So they went with this member-based model. We had these issuers and acquirers and rules that governed this thing. And also within that, there was kind of a model in which the more value you provided to the network, then the more voting rights you got, and the bigger the benefit or distribution or return you received. And so they changed the brand to Visa. Bank of America no longer owned it. It became decentralized, and Visa became the monster that it is today. So I've always been really interested in the business model and the operating model and the strategy for these guys. But when COVID hit in Fiji, which is a small island not too far away from Australia and New Zealand, a lot of the tourists from Australia and New Zealand no longer went there, and for a lot of the businesses there, they really struggled. Majority of their revenue comes from the tourism dollar, and in those markets in particular, there's a large number of female entrepreneurs who sell stuff on the side of the road and markets, arts, crafts, foods, that type of thing. And these people can't get bank accounts, and they definitely can't get merchant accounts, which is actually quite a hard thing to do to be able to accept card payments. And so Mastercard worked with the Australian government and a Kiwi company called FinTech Pacific. And what they wanted to do is to use some really innovative technology to enable people to accept payments on their Android device. And instead of settling the payment into a bank account, you can actually settle the payment onto a card. And so, for lack of a better description, it's business in a box. So as a female entrepreneur in Fiji now, I can get an Android device supplied to me. I can take payments from Australian and New Zealand tourists who don't necessarily have Fijian dollars. They want to buy stuff when they travel around the island. And I can have that settled onto my own card, and then I can actually pay anywhere Mastercard's accepted. And as part of that process, I got to really understand a lot of the people within Mastercard and the values of Mastercard, and I've found Mastercard probably to be the best partner I've worked with in over a 20-year period. And I've worked with hundreds of banks. I've typically worked with large organizations and been the sort of innovator. So I did the innovation and speed, and they did the scale and distribution stuff. And Mastercard have just been phenomenal. The other thing that I thought at the time is Visa was, I think almost 100% of all crypto cards out there were Visa cards. And Mastercard was very big on buy now, pay later. The Afterpays, the Klarnas, Laybys, all of those buy now, pay laters are pretty much powered by Mastercard. But the CEO at Mastercard, Michael Maybach, was making a whole bunch of noise and comments around crypto being the future and investing in cryptocurrency. And I kind of figured, with all due respect, that a company like ours could add a lot of value to Mastercard, and then we could also get a lot of value back. And so it was a real strong partnership with a foundation of equality. And what's kind of since happened is now with this partnership and other partnerships that Mastercard's had, the kind of rhetoric in the market is that Mastercard is the Web3 Metaverse payments leader out there. There's a dime a dozen of prepaid and debit kind of crypto cards out there that you can basically spend your stuff. But the stuff that Mastercard's doing is really innovative, and they're really supportive of fintechs and startups. And we basically got to know each other at a personal level. We're values aligned and strategically aligned, and that's how it sort of came about.
Very cool. Tybo, I'll give you the stage to ask a question if you'd like, and then Mometa.
I don't. I haven't really been fully listening, so hopefully this question wasn't repeated. Do you see yourself working with other than Mastercard, so the likes of Visa and whatnot? And if not, what would be the reasons why you couldn't? And maybe would there be a change of tune in the regulatory space that would allow you to work with them? Maybe you could go into that a little bit.
Yep. Good question. So look, nothing's preventing us from working with Visa. We could if we wanted to. I think there's a couple of things, right? If you're accepting card payments, then you want to be able to accept Visa and Mastercard at minimum, and probably Amex, Diners, JCB, and maybe some alternative forms of payment as well. On the issuing side, particularly from a consumer perspective, they probably care more about having a Futureverse card or an exchange card, or being able to transact from MetaMask or Trust Wallet or whatever the case may be. And they're less concerned about whether it's a Visa or Mastercard, because in reality, you can transact with that card wherever those parties, right? It's not like Visa have more acceptance places than Mastercard and vice versa. So from our perspective, there is actually no reason or driver or business case to support Visa. We're super happy with Mastercard. The commercials are basically the same. They're similar companies, but at the end of the day, it does come down to people. And the partnership we have with Mastercard and the people at Mastercard is super strong. And so whilst we could work with Visa if we wanted to, we have no business need to do so, and no other need to do so.
Oh, cool. So how does Immersve create revenue being the middleman in this when it's like a decentralized network? Could you maybe talk about how Immersve as a company functions and creates revenue? If you could go into it a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Really good question. So when they set up these sort of decentralized or distributed networks for issuing and acceptance, the business model is baked into becoming a member of this network. And ultimately, the revenue comes from this fee called interchange. Interchange is the fee that the issuer of the card, Immersve, charges the acquirer. So the acquirer could be, Bank of America, it could be Stripe, it could be Adyen, it could be PayPal. They then put a margin on it and they charge a merchant fee, which is what Starbucks, Amazon, Nike pays. And so we get our revenue by charging the acquirer an interchange fee. We can make a small margin on FX. So we get probably the most competitive FX rates in the world as a benefit of being part of the Mastercard network. And we can put 1.5% on that. So we earn some revenue from that. And the other way in which we earn revenue is if companies want to use our platform as a service to issue their own branded cards, then we charge them a service fee to do that as well. So those are the three revenue streams that Immersve can earn.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it. That's all I've got for now. Thank you for answering.
Cool. Good questions.
Mometa music? Oh, sorry. No music. Mometa.
Just Momenta, Max. I think we can cover it there. It was long enough already. Jerome, thank you for coming on today, mate. I really appreciate this. I just want to start by saying I love the logo. The immersive logo with the colours, it really pops. So well played there.
Now, dope. Well, do you know Outlier Ventures?
Yes, I do. Yeah, Jamie Burke. Yep.
Yeah, so credit to OV. So OV, we went through their accelerator program. If anyone's in a Web3 founder who doesn't know about Outlier Ventures or is starting out, hands down the best accelerator in the world. It was fucking intense, but I suspect our company grew 12 months and 3 months. And as part of the program, I think they've got like a couple of hundred people on their team now, everything from, token economic people to VC people to brand, UX, design. And essentially, when we went through that program, OV's brand team came up with the logo for us. So that's all part of the OV accelerator. Basecamp's the one we did, and I cannot rate it high enough for anyone that's listening. Definitely consider if you're in this space.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to have them part of the team. That's just another tool to help people who are building, focus on the best places to position themselves. And as you just said, mate, that is a great logo. Now, I've got two questions.
Yep.
The first one is to help me explain to others basically the sequence of how it works regarding if I have a wallet with the Futureverse, with Mastercard integrated into it, and I've only got Ethereum in my wallet. What are the transactions from my Ethereum through gas fees to the point of sale of the retailer? Cool. What is that sequence?
So I think there's a couple of things. One, you need to do a swap from ETH to USDC. That's kind of step one. Then you need to think about the type of payment you're making. Is it an e-com payment or is it a retail payment? So for an e-commerce payment, typically what you would do is you would use the web extension. Within the web extension, the plan would be for the Futureverse wallet to have a pay button. When you invoke that pay button, there's a one-time virtual card that gets generated. So behind the scenes, the FB wallet talks to our APIs, that talks to the protocol running on root. This one-time card number gets put back into the Web3 wallet. Ideally, via DOM, you can pre-populate the payment page, a bit like autofill, as you would see with passwords and that type of thing. And so from the merchant's point of view, it looks like a normal MasterCard transaction. It's got a card number, expiry date, CVV, that type of thing. When that transaction, we hit submit on the payment page, the payment then goes via the MasterCard network through to us. We then route that to your wallet, essentially, and then you sign for that transaction using your private key, at which point the USDC moves out of the protocol smart contract and then into a settlement wallet that we then use to settle with MasterCard at the end of the day. And so this is interesting because if you think about every other card product out there, obviously the funds are held with a centralized entity, but the centralized entity also makes the decision as to what you can and can't buy. So I tried to buy some crypto last year as an example. It was like only a few $1,000s worth of Ethereum, and my bank declined that because it was a crypto payment. And so I had to call up the bank, and they put me through to the call center to give me a one-on-one on the risks associated with crypto and to understand what I was doing. Now, the person at the bank talking to me about the risks associated with crypto kind of felt like a 12-year-old kid that watched a YouTube video on how to drive a car, teaching me how I should do a hill start and a manual who'd never done it before. It was a bit odd. Why is this bank making the decision on what I can and can't buy? And so in our world, you're the master of your money and you sign the transaction using your private key. That also means that I think we can all but eliminate fraud. These are one-time credit card numbers. And in order to approve a transaction, which you, the individual, does, you need the private key. So that's how the e-com flow works.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I'm going to have to, this show's recorded, so I'm going to be able to listen to that back, unpack it, and then be able to rephrase it in a way that I can then communicate to others. So thank you for breaking it down. And that's really important for us to know as well.
Yeah, cool. If you're part of the ecosystem, I do have a video and all that kind of stuff I can show you with some of the Web3 wallets that we're working with, and it brings it all to life. Retail is slightly different. So with an e-com transaction, essentially got a 10-minute window where we can approve or decline the transaction. So we have time to talk to a Web3 wallet and allow for the user to sign the transaction. In retail, we don't have time. And so the Immersve platform, in sort of August, September, will support both XPay and physical cards. And so if you have an XPay card, that's a Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or a physical card, we have 3 seconds to approve or decline a transaction. All right. And so this gets a bit more difficult, particularly when you're dealing with blockchains. And so under that model, what you'd need to do prior to purchasing your coffee at Starbucks or whatever the case may be, you need to deposit funds into a smart contract, which you can take out of anytime you want, and you're under control of all of that. And then when you tap the card or swipe the card, then at that point, the funds in the smart contract get locked up. We approve the transaction and they move out. But you don't use your Web3 wallet because there's just not enough time to open up the app and sign the transaction where it comes to retail payments. And then recurring payments are slightly similar, but basically you'd provide delegated authority to do that. And we're working with, looking at things like the Donut Protocol and Odyssey and things like that to do some sort of delegated authority for recurring payments. But yeah, depends on the transaction type as to what the experience looks like.
And that makes sense, because with retail, it has to be instantaneous. Otherwise, it doesn't work. We've always said that's the friction point. All right, my other question, you've kind of half answered when you said that we would transfer into USDC before the payment could go through, because obviously that's what's being used by Mastercard. So coming back to that, it was more about where is the risk being held, because I wasn't sure if it was Mastercard who had a partnership with Circle or if Immersve had a partnership with Circle, because we all saw USDC unpeg the other day. And the first thing when it went down to 88 cents in Oz was, what does this mean for Immersve and what does this mean for you guys? Or is it simply that as we are basically changing that ourselves within our wallets, we just need to make a quick transaction while the price is stable?
So a couple of things. The fluctuation on the open market, shall we say, between 88 cents and $1.01 or whatever it goes between, has no impact on Immersve or the Immersve experience. And there's a couple of reasons. One is we have agreed terms that enable one-to-one pairing between USD and USDC. So even if it's 88 cents on CoinMarketCap or wherever it is, and you can do that via some sort of Uniswap or whatever it is you're sort of using, it's still one-to-one with USD in our world. And from a settlement perspective, Circle is actually a regulated company. As part of that regulation, they actually are obligated to honor one-to-one between USDC and USD. And so all the stuff that was going on with Silicon Valley Bank and Signature and so on actually doesn't impact our settlement or our real-time transactions and exchange rates at the point of purchase.
That's awesome, dude. Really appreciate you answering all those questions. I look forward to talking to you more soon. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, cool. Likewise. Thank you.
Awesome. So my next question for you, Jerome, was about what are the most immediate or the most important immediate goals and aspirations of Immersve?
Cool. Yeah, really good question. So there's probably a multi-pronged strategy for Immersve. What we need to do, there's probably technical and regulatory things and partner things that we need to execute against. So Immersve is obtaining regulatory approvals in Australia, New Zealand, USA, UK, EU, and Singapore, so that we can onboard citizens in those countries that want to have an Immersve powered card. So on the regulatory side, that's what we're doing. From a technical infrastructure side, it's a multi-chain protocol. So we currently support Polygon, Ethereum, and working with Root, obviously, but we want to support any chain that has native support for USDC and other stable coins that we may decide to add in the future, because I think stable coins are more suitable for payments as opposed to tokens, cryptocurrencies, that type of thing. And so we're going to get our protocol running on hopefully all 11 USD supported blockchains. And then the other piece is we need to get dApps, so decentralized apps, Web3 wallets, DeFi protocols, GameFi, potentially NFT projects to integrate with our APIs, so that people can transact from that Web3 wallet, from that DeFi protocol. Maybe they want a card with a picture of their NFT on it, have some sort of unique rewards associated with the utility that comes from that NFT project. And so we're also looking to integrate our APIs with dApps. And so that's kind of what we're doing at the moment. There's the infrastructure, there's the regulatory, and then there's the API partnerships.
And would you say the focus is more business to business versus business to individual?
Yeah, 100%. We're a platform company and an API. We're probably you probably call us a Web 2.5, right? Because we've got Web 3 infrastructure as far as the protocols and smart contracts that we run, but then we're also running centralized infrastructure to connect to the Mastercard network, and so we need to blend and bring the best of both to bear, which is actually a good thing, because if you think about it now, for consumers that potentially do a crypto native transaction, if, for example, they look to spend their crypto and they go to Nikes.com, they don't notice that they've mistyped the URL and go to a phishing website, and they send some of their crypto to via a QR code or someone to some other wallet. If they don't receive that good or service, then they lose their crypto. With us, if they accidentally went to Nikes.com and use the Immersve platform, they get the benefit of the consumer protection that comes with Mastercard. So ultimately, they end up getting their money back. They also get the cool bit of Web3 because it looks like a Web3 payment, right? They're still using the Web3 wallet, they're still signing the transactions, all that type of stuff. And again, back on the Web2 world, one of the cool things about Web2 is Mastercard have over 70 million acceptance channels. So you can spend your crypto at over 70 million places around the world. And so we try and bring those two things to bear, but we're focusing very much on being a platform for Web 2 and 3 bridging that provides services to wallets and companies that have existing consumers, as opposed to us being a direct-to-consumer brand or business.
On that note, if there is a credit card dispute on a payment, in my experience, I have a credit card with Citibank, and it's a MasterCard, and my communication was with Citibank, not MasterCard. So if someone has a MasterCard through Immersve, who are they dealing with for such a situation?
Well, it's quite cool, right? So we've got our own dApp. So first off, you log into our dApp with your Web3 wallet. You can see both the blockchain transaction and the merchant transaction. So you get to visibility over the wallet side of things, and also where you transacted from a merchant perspective. And then you can hit a button to dispute a transaction. It says I did not receive goods, and you can go through that chargeback process. But all of that's done via Immersve. If you're with one of our affiliates, so where we sponsor another party into the network, then you could do that either via Immersve or via the affiliate. There's a saying, I think Aaron coined it, which is, we drink our own champagne as opposed to eat our own dog food, because let's be honest, we would rather have champagne than dog food. And so the way in which we design and build is API first, and we become the first consumers of our APIs. So we build these UIs, including these portals where you can dispute transactions, view transactions, and report on transactions, potentially change limits. So if you want to have a higher limit as far as what you can put in the smart contract, or a lesser limit, you can do all that kind of stuff. But equally, any one of our partners can use the same API we use to create their own UI to personalize the experience to better suit their customer needs.
How many workers or employees do you need to deal with all these types of customer support and other items?
We've spent about 18 months building the platform, and we've definitely automated or integrated a whole bunch of workflows from the start that mean we can scale without necessarily adding a whole bunch of additional heads. One of the cool things about being part of the Futureverse ecosystem is that we can tap into a $1 billion company and their resources, and they've been really great and helpful as far as giving us expertise that should we say a typical startup would not generally get access to. We currently have 30 full-time employees with Immersve, and I would say probably mid-40s as far as broader people working on the project, including advisors and others. So there's a reasonable number. But the other thing also, for what it's worth, being a B2B company, we have one customer, and at the moment our one customer could have, well, some of these guys have tens of millions of users, but they are the one that provide a lot of the frontline support to those users. And so we just have this business customer as opposed to 10 million consumers that are reaching out to us. So not quite as much of an overhead under that model that it would be if we were B2C.
Awesome. This has been really great, Somnium. What do you think?
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks for hopping on, Jerome. I had one about KYC and just kind of your thoughts around that and Immersive's stance on that as it pertains to Web3 and how all that works.
Cool. I love these questions. These are really good questions. So I think there's a couple of things, right? First off, we need to comply with the law, and we're a regulated company. So we're a registered financial services provider. We're almost received our Australian financial services license. So over there, we'll get FinCEN, MTL, all that kind of stuff in the US, and FTA in the UK, right? And so part of us being one of these regulated entities means that we need to comply with the law. Most laws have KYC rules and AML rules and CFT rules, so countering financial terrorism. So we need to comply with the law. However, I think this is actually more an opportunity, because the reality is, at the moment, if you wanted to transact out of your crypto wallet, you'd need to deal with an exchange and a bank, and both of those parties are going to do KYC anyway, right? So one less party when dealing with us. But where I think it gets interesting is once you've got trusted credentials within your Web3 wallet, so all parties will need to go through KYC with us, and it's a typical KYC process you would expect. Scan a QR code, take a selfie, upload a document, that kind of stuff. We support two options. One, if you look at our APIs, so if you go to docs.immersve.com, you can see some of the KYC documentation. If you've already done KYC with one of our partners, then we're not going to make you do it again, assuming that KYC meets the appropriate levels that we need to comply with our obligations. And those parties can send us information we need to do that. So there's not going to be duplication, which is nice from a customer experience perspective. If you haven't gone through that process, or if the party wants to use our KYC, then that will be done as well. And we can actually pass back via the API some trusted credentials to the wallet, to say that this user has done KYC. And if you think about gaming in particular, the use cases for having trusted credentials in Web3, I think, are going to increase. Digital identity and digital payments and digital currency, they're all kind of interlinked, actually. And what you'll see is people starting to use their Web3 wallet to log in to play games. And particularly games might be gated as R18. So let's say there's a Web3 GTA or something like that, right? At the moment, the wallets are anonymous. So how do I know that this person's allowed to play this game? How can I comply with the law and also our values and moral kind of things, where we don't want 10-year-old children playing R18 games, right? That's not anyone's interest. If we expose the zero knowledge endpoint, so that Web3 wallets and Web3 dApps can verify that this user is allowed to play this game, i.e. yes, they are over 18. We don't need to give them the passport, driver's license, or that kind of stuff. But we can actually distribute digital identity via Web3 once we have gone through that KYC process for a consumer. And I think that's going to be really cool. I think there's going to be a bunch of use cases in DeFi. The other thing is we use a whole bunch of technology around AML, so source of funds, to make sure the money that processes via network is clean, that we know where that source is. And so within the immersive world, we're going to know who the users are. We're going to know that the assets are clean. And so any other Web3 participant that also wants, we say, not to take the high ground, but to ensure that they comply with the law and I think what's reasonable morally and ethically, then they can potentially use some of our infrastructure to do that.
Yeah, I think that's super important, and I think it's really awesome that you're taking out duplication to enhance the user experience, especially as well. It's very smart.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Tybo, Mometa, or anybody else that wants to come up and ask questions, feel free, or we can keep on rolling.
Yeah, I was just curious regarding how CentraPass, and you said you're the founder of CentraPay, which is the custody solution. How important is it for these three entities to play one simultaneous role, if you will, with identity, secure custody, and then that transaction experience as well?
Cool. So CentraPass was founded by a guy called Andy Hicks. and that's the digital identity layer within Futureverse. So I'm not involved in that, although I'm reasonably familiar with it. Centropay is the other one that I founded, which is a digital acceptance network for payments. I think there's a couple of things, right? I kind of look at it like a decentralized AWS for the open metaverse, a bit of a pick and mix, a Lego system, you know. So yes, it's good that all the systems are interoperable, and you know, like Lego, you can plug the different components to build what you want as far as what it makes sense. But if you just want to use blues or just want to use yellows, if you just want to use Centropay or Centropass or Immersive or ASM, then you can do that too. So you can have a fully integrated experience with a bunch of primitives and APIs that have been designed to work well with each other, and obviously with businesses that are kind of under the one umbrella, if you will. Or if you just want to go with one of those companies, like you just want to use the Immersive off-ramp, then you can do that too. So it provides a whole bunch of choice and flexibility for parties that want to build on top of this stack.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Sam, did you want to ask your usual question that you ask every week, the audience favorite?
Yeah, sure. So what are you most excited for in the near future that you can talk about? Not even the near future, actually. You can extend it to years.
Look, we're pre-product, pre-revenue, so we're looking to launch August this year, and so I've been working on this for quite a while. So I'd be lying if I didn't say I was pretty excited about sort of go live and doing actual transactions and production. That's definitely the thing. Prior to that, we've got a massive announcement around who some of our founding partners and customers are going to be, and I'm really looking forward to that coming out as well, because we got some really cool parties on the centralized and decentralized and Web3 stack that we're building, and these are some of the biggest, baddest, coolest companies in the space. So yeah, super excited to be able to announce the parties we're working with and to see them succeed. So yeah, that's probably where I'm at in the short term.
This is a final warning for anyone in the audience who may want to ask a question, as I know we're going to have to say bye to Jerome and thank him for his time. In the meantime, I'll ask, is there anything we haven't covered that you wanted to cover?
I think the questions have been brilliant, actually. No, I don't think there's...
Would you think this is a good show to come on in the future again? Maybe after the program launches towards the end of the year?
100%. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed this call. I think, probably some of the best questions I've been asked. I like the tough questions and the direct questions. We're pretty open and transparent. So, love to come on here again.
All right. Well, since no one else is coming up onto the stage, we'll say goodbye and thank you very much. Can everyone please give some emojis for Jerome and thank him for coming on to the show? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jerome.
I have a last closing thought. Do you have a token for Immersive?
No. So I think there's a couple of things, right? I think there's some payment projects out there that use tokens as rewards, and I think it's safe to say that hasn't really worked out too good for end users. I think when I think about token, I think a token is a way to power a decentralized economy. But in order to have a decentralized economy, I think you kind of need a decentralized business. And because we're regulated and because we've got relationships with like a Mastercard, I think it's too early for us to be decentralized as far as our operating model goes. If we were to go down that road, then I think a token makes a whole lot of sense. Definitely thinking about it. I would love to decentralize Immersive at some point in the future. And if we did that, there would be some sort of token generation event and token economic model and white paper and all that kind of stuff. But our focus for now is to build a platform that people want to use, that they're happy to pay for, and that they want to tell their friends about. And then if we get that right and we get some scale, then maybe like Bank of America did with Visa, we can do a more modern version of that, and we can decentralize Bank of America / Immersive into a Visa with a token. So on the plans longer term, but not on the short term.
Real quick, we got music NFTs up here that just came up. Did you have a question? for Jerome?
Yeah, hi there. Good evening, guys. Sorry I joined a little late. Greetings, Jay.
All good. Welcome.
Thank you. Had a quick question. I'll keep it just to one question. I know that you guys are partnered with Mastercard, and I know you were just speaking about the Visa Bank of America partnership. Is Mastercard looking to you to be their onboard person into the Web space when it comes to people utilizing crypto through your card?
Oh, look, we're one of them for sure, but it's not exclusive, right? So it's not exclusive either way. You know, we can work with other parties if we really wanted to, and equally they can. But I think it's safe to say the relationship we have with them. So you know, we met with the CEO in New York. You know, I presented to all of their leadership in Australia recently at the Australian Open. We did collaboration via Labs as a Service. We've got a really strong foundation and one of equal footing. We provide a whole bunch of value around Web3 technology, payments innovation, and they provide a whole bunch of value, you know, from a payment scheme, distribution, brand perspective. So at the moment, I think you know, it's a mutually beneficial partnership, and I suspect it's going to stay like that for a very long time. But it's not exclusive.
All right, awesome. Thanks for taking it.
Cool.
I have a question. Sorry, I just came in my mind that I was meant to ask. So with the banks, I guess having trouble with liquidity and USDC being directly exposed initially to SVB, I think it was. Is there any risks involved with Mastercard slowing down the innovation of using payments because they use USDC? Do you see any issues with that hindering adoption and just general moving the space forward if that becomes more of an issue with more banks having trouble that could directly affect the USDC backing?
Look, I think the greater risk is actually to fiat, right? How about all those consumers that had prepaid cards or debit cards with fiat currency at Silicon Valley Bank, right? What happens if the Fed didn't jump in? They would have been in a lot more trouble. The thing with the USDC piece is USDC, I think 8% of their cash reserves were with Silicon Valley Bank, right? So large number, but not a business failure number for them. Because they are regulated, they also were able to honor a one-to-one USDC to USD, and they had the off-ramps via Coinbase and Binance. I know they shut them down for a bit over the weekend till things stabilized a little bit, but actually USDC was significantly more stable than USD in Silicon Valley Bank. So I would probably be, and I can't speak on behalf of MasterCard, but I personally think there was more risk with fiat in the bank than there was with stable coins outside of the bank and partly inside the bank.
Yeah. So what other alternatives would MasterCard have if USDC became a problem? Is that something that they're looking into and that you might know about, or is it sort of not considered?
I can't talk on behalf of MasterCard. So questions pertaining to MasterCard, you know, defer to MasterCard. But I guess from our perspective, if USDC wasn't an option, then we would look at supporting other stable coins if we needed to. So the obvious one for me would be USDT. But USDC, I think, have shown and Circle have shown that even through these tough times, the fact that they were able to honor that, you know, there's some glitching on a Friday and it was all resolved by a Monday, you know, that to me shows it's pretty rock solid. So no plans in the short term to change from USDC to anything else. I think in payments and innovation, you know, there's always risk, but I think what you need to understand is, you know, be very specific around what the risk is, what the likelihood is, what the severity is, what the mitigation is, and then what the upside is. And I think it's very low risk and very low likelihood as far as issues with USDC.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good to hear. And I think MasterCard probably sees it in a similar light, unless they actually release news on changing their plans. But so far, so good.
Yeah. The other thing I'd probably add is that Reuters article that said, you know, MasterCard and you know, Visa were sort of getting out of crypto. That was actually wrong and not accurate. That's definitely not the position of Visa nor MasterCard. So as far as I'm aware, there's still massive support, interest in digital currencies and blockchain technology, and I don't see that slowing down. I think we live in a digital world. It's only becoming increasingly more digital, and a digital world, digital society needs a digital currency, and stable coins and central digital currencies are definitely the future. And I think anyone that's in payments realizes that. You're going to be a fool not to.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna be left behind if they don't jump on board and join it. Because if Mastercard wants to stay relevant, that's what I would be doing, and it seems to be like a smart move on their behalf.
100%, yeah. That companies like that need to continually keep innovating, right? Payments is now bigger than banking, and if you want to remain relevant, then you need to keep innovating and delivering value, and delivering ultimately what consumers are looking for. And I think more consumers are going to want digital currencies, digital wallets, digital payments. It's people aren't going to be going back to cash and checks. Maybe cash for nefarious activity, but that would be the only reason.
Yeah, I had a quick one from the Discord. Someone was basically asking if Immersve will be offering credit cards in any sort, or like lines of credit, I guess, associated with it.
Good question. No, we won't. So we're a technology platform, but we are working with Otto, which is part of the ecosystem. If you have crypto and you want to get a loan or similar with it, then potentially you can use DeFi protocols like Otto and others to get that credit facility, and then you can get that that credit loaded onto an Immersve powered card. So we'll be working with DeFi protocols to do that, but we won't be supplying, I guess, liquidity or credit facilities to consumers or other parties.
Very cool. Thank you, Jerome.
Yeah, sweet.
All right. Well, big thanks to Jerome. Hopefully we'll see him again on the show, and whenever we can.
Oh, wait, last one.
Oh, okay.
From a special ask.
They won't let you go, Jerome.
Thoughts
No,
on
all good.
CBDCs? Someone was asking your thoughts on CBDCs. You don't have
Yep,
to go too deep, but
no, that's cool. I mean, I'm pretty involved in some of the CBD stuff in New Zealand. I think it's inevitable. I think it's really interesting at a macro level. It's probably safe to say that banks haven't been the best investors in payment innovation, and at the moment, particularly in most Western countries, banks have a bit of a moat around payments, and consumers aren't getting what they need from those banks as far as payment innovation goes. CBDCs potentially open up innovation ecosystems where fintechs like Immersve can build really cool payment experiences without needing to involve a bank. And so I think also compliance is interesting. So CBDCs mean that you can codify compliance into the currency, into the network. You got real-time settlement, real-time payments. If two parties have been KYC'd and they want to transact $11,000, they can do so. If one of those parties hasn't, then the transaction doesn't take place. So I think there's a myriad of reasons why CBDCs will be supported, and it's just a matter of when, not if.
great answer. Thank you, sir.
Cool.
Can we let Jerome go now?
Yeah, we sure can.
Thanks so much, Jerome. Appreciate your time and your expertise and everything that you're doing for the Futureverse and for us.
Awesome, man. Thanks very much. I really enjoyed the session. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thanks,
and
Jerome.
now, and anyone can give a nice emojis for Jerome would be nice. And now I have a statement to read on behalf of Pufferfish, who cannot join us tonight. Apparently, he was fired as the fictional head of public relations at Futureverse because of an incident that happened over the weekend, and he has released a statement that I have been given to read. So I will read that statement to you now. My fellow NFT collectors and friends, it is with great sadness that I must announce I was fired as Futureverse Public Relations Manager. I maintain my innocence, and my lawyer Amir has filed a lawsuit against Futureverse on my behalf. what do we know? According to a New Zealand police report, a 33-foot center console fishing boat belonging to Jeffrey McDonald was stolen late Friday night. According to eyewitnesses, the boat operator and 4 female passengers appeared heavily intoxicated and were driving erratically at high speeds. When the vessel was approached by the New Zealand maritime units, the person in question yelled, "Sayonara, suckers," and then dove off of a moving boat and swam into the dark, eluding police. My lawyer insists I do not speak on the matter. However, I have 3 things I would like to say. Number 1. Officially, nobody knows who was the captain of that boat, and they are not able to prove it was me. Number 2. The boat in question is fine, and that's not even Jeff's biggest boat, so I don't know what the problem is. And lastly, it wasn't 4 girls, it was only 3, but one of them was big-bootied and had a lot of hair. In conclusion, I would like to thank FLUF community for all of their support in these rough times of uncertainty. Love Pufferfish. We can expect Pufferfish to be back with more entertaining segments in the upcoming weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Well, that was riveting, Max.
It might have been better coming from Pufferfish, but I tried my best to read the lines as provided to me. I'm not sure how much entertainment value that had. By the way, none of that is actually a true story, in case anyone has the wrong idea. We're an entertainment show, so. So what should we talk about now?
When Jeffrey's boat mint.
Oh, you'll have to refer to the fictitious former Futureverse public relations head, who will be back in future weeks to give more top 5s and other good content.
Also, for context, he did not ever work at Futureverse.
Oh, I definitely want to emphasize that he was the fictional head of public relations at Futureverse, not the actual. This is a well, I guess the first part of our show is very real, but this part of the show is an entertainment segment. I should clarify that probably.
Do we know if Pufferfish is able to join yet, or is it still NGMI?
Oh, well, he couldn't join today, so he left that statement with me because he has another schedule. But seeing as how you were able to join today but weren't able to in the past, maybe the same will be true for Pufferfish.
Yeah, I think it's been fixed. I've been noticing conversations around Twitter Spaces working more.
That being said, he is skateboarding tonight. So he left the statement in advance.
Well, on that note, I just got rugged, so I had to jump down and then request to come back up again. And the few spaces I've done this week have been really, really hard work to negotiate, speakers not being able to hear each other. So let's not jinx this show, but I think it's going pretty well so far. I was hoping...
I feel like our shows generally go pretty well. Like, I don't want to jinx ourselves, but we've been going... Sonyam, has it been a year yet? Wait, we should keep track of that and have a 1-year anniversary show if we didn't miss it.
Yeah, we should. I don't know when it was, though. It's been a while. It's probably close to a year.
Question. Maybe, Tybo, you know the answer. When was ASTO issued?
It was issued April.
Okay, well, that's when we started with the weekly format. Was right around that time. So I think that our anniversary might be in April then. Oh, okay. Momata, you were saying something before I interrupted.
Yeah, I've been really busy this week and haven't been able to keep up with what's happening with the goblins and the junk. So if you guys wanted to have a conversation around when the amulets are going to get their junk, how much junk we're getting, how much a goblin's going to cost, any of that brief rundown, yes, I would really appreciate.
I would love to. Here I go. Please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, Summer Tybo. So number one, when you sacrifice or burn one of the NFTs on the list that was issued. And Sam, can we maybe post that list pin that list? So if once you sacrifice anything on that list, you get somewhere between 50 and 300 junk tokens. And I just want to make sure everyone understands, junk is not like an ERC20 token or a token that can be used on the Root network or any chain. It is just an in-game type of token similar to moon rocks. They have a purpose, and the purpose is you spend 100 of them and you get to mint a goblin for 100 junk. I guess they don't call them tokens. Well, for 100 junk, you can mint a goblin. When you sacrifice your item, you get somewhere between 50 and 300 junk. And where that number is based on like random luck. So it's not like one collection or one NFT would be more likely to get more junk than another. Regarding the junk token, the junk that amulet holders get, that will be delivered around 3 days. 3 business days after the portal, I guess, was opened, or like the ability to burn the other tokens, which was less than 24 hours ago. So you can expect them in the next 2 or 3 days. What other questions? And when will goblins be summoned? They said by the end of the month, I think. So
okay, so I'm taking away from this that junk is an off-chain reward, and it's totally random what Gizmo gives you per NFT, right? So
right, but it's somewhere between 50 and 300.
But it will be 100 to mint a goblin.
Right.
Oh yeah. Correct. Okay.
So if you burn 2 of the NFTs from that list, you'll for sure be able to mint a goblin. But there's also a chance that you can mint more than one. I don't know if anyone has like figured out like the mathematical probabilities yet in terms of like what's the most likely number, like what is the mean or median or mode for what you get for sacrificing. I don't know if it's skewed towards 50, skewed towards 300, skewed towards the middle, randomly distributed. I don't know anything like that.
I guess my other question, I don't know if you mentioned it, but when goblins?
Yeah, so apparently we'll be able to, well, according to their statement, it said by the end of March, which is like 4 days. 4 days from now, including today. But I don't know. That seems quite soon to me. So if it weren't in March, I wouldn't be surprised. But it seems very soon. But yeah, that's what it says. But I don't know. If it doesn't happen in March, I won't be like complaining or anything or upset. I'm determining if I should get rid of all the things that I can. I guess I should. Some of them are still worth a little bit.
I'm really pleased they put Thingy Art on that list because I didn't degen massively. I just got mainly Futureverse and Gala type utility tokens, so I haven't got a bunch of pictures of cats eating spaghetti to dump. So the Thingy Art I have lots of. So and I love some of it and some of it not so much. So I think that was a good call by the team.
Well, one of the NFTs on the list is cats showing their butt. It's called Kitty Butts.
I have 3 of those.
It is on the junk list, and I do happen to own one of them. And that one I think is a no-brainer. I will be giving that over to Gizmo. There is another one on the list that I'm very sad is very worthless. I didn't expect it. But here we are. It's worthless. So R.I.P. Some of the things on the list, I'm just sad that they failed so miserably. This was just like a bit of a reminder. Wow, this project is dead. It is what it is.
Well, hey, not all of them are dead projects. That's the other thing. It's
not all of them
unwanted.
are dead projects, but the one I'm referencing to that makes me upset is so dead.
It's the optionality
Which one is that?
to choose what you would like.
They're called Starlings now. It was like I think they had a previous name, Star Sailor Siblings. There was this NFT community back in 2021 that was popular at the time, and they released their NFT, and it just like, I don't know, fizzled real bad all the way to zero.
Like, I jumped into a space yesterday where there were so many toys being thrown out of the pram over DeFi apes, which I know nothing about. But I think there's going to be a lot of projects hitting that list in the near future, and we're just going to have to clean up the space and hopefully do a better job moving forward.
DeFi Apes was a recent mint that rugged.
Put them on the list, boys and girls. Put them on the list.
Yeah,
but yeah, that list, I'm surprised. I don't actually know that many on that list. I know Particlon. Where was it? Jeez, I need to look up the list. I've heard of Super Yeti briefly, but most of it are 888 Inner Circle. I've heard about them. Pluto Alliance, but the rest, I have no idea.
I didn't even look. Is 888 on that list?
Yeah,
a specific realm of it. But to be honest, Ibo, I'm disappointed in your lack of DGen-ness because I don't even consider myself a DGen, but I know at least half of the items on the list.
No,
I didn't really buy that many NFTs, and the ones that I did failed anyway.
That's all that due diligence Max has been doing. Crazy.
To be honest, I have worked hard over the past couple of years.
I have purely focused on ones that can prove utility. You know, whether they're music NFTs that can get paired with a node and create rewards, or if they've got a team behind them with some really great plan like the Futureverse, is the only ones I've touched. And I did get one thing from 888, which was potentially going to give you benefits on the Flare network, which was some realm ring or something, which I will be happy to chalk up as a mistake and burn it. Get myself another goblin. Perfect. Glad to see it's on there. Hope it qualifies.
I'm familiar with 26 of the 34 items. That's pretty. Does that say I have a vast knowledge of the NFT space? 26 out of 34 is pretty good, right?
You're figuring it out. It's crazy, Max. That's crazy.
I was hoping that maybe Pufferfish can make some top fives in the future relating to this junk list. There's a lot of comedic material hidden in the lines.
I just want to add that I thought the infomercial they did for burning the junk was excellent, because talking to Kyle last week and, you know, asking for something that I can post on other communities' Twitter feeds when they don't understand what we're up to, I thought that was a really nice take on it, and they did a great job with that. So a lot of fun, very funny, explained the purpose. So good job.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sharing those to those communities and reaching out to let them know that they have an option.
Were there any more topics in regards to the junk list that you needed explained further, Momenta?
Just one. How much junk do the different amulets get? Did we touch that?
100 for the bronze. Is it 200 for the silver and 500 for the gold?
Yep, that's right.
And
they'll have ongoing utility as well.
Some people complained about, well, shouldn't the gold have 15 times the bronze because it costs 15 times the seekers. And in response, members of the team said, this isn't like a Square project where we make everything standard and boring. And we thought about this long and hard. And there are plenty of things that have not been released about the benefits of gold and silver over bronze, as well as some that have been discussed a little bit, which is access to traits that cannot be obtained by those that do not have gold or bronze amulets. So we'll have to stay tuned to learn more, I think.
Yeah. So, like, if you look at the number 500 and look at that number alone, you're doing yourself a disservice. When you times it by the rarest amulet, you're probably going to get a better outcome in terms of rarity with the goblins. And that's how I see it, not just the number alone. The number is fictitious because, like, you can buy 3 rugs for like $3 and then burn them and get like heaps of junk anyway. So I think it's a moot point, to be honest, and isn't really the value add.
Yeah,
It's the actual gold amulet itself.
The value add for the amulets, like they gave the amulets some junk, but that isn't like the purpose of holding an amulet. It's like one of many, I guess, perks or functions.
It's
So,
just like people are negatively geared to like, oh, see number bad, me get angry, me no like, you know.
well,
it's just like
we definitely want to understand why someone would say that, and it is, reasonable, and I don't want to like belittle anyone's opinion that might have had 15 seekers and burned them all for gold and then saw that and immediately felt some kind of way. It's better, in my opinion, to hear them.
I think it should have come from inquiry instead of assumptions. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, on a similar note, there have been, some people, maybe a bunch of people that I've noticed in the Discord that have raised concerns or had, opinions. And this is a safe space. So if anyone wants to discuss them here, that will always be something that is made available on the show. What other topics should we discuss? I guess, does anyone here have... Oh, Tybo, you have an Android and had been playing the AI FIFA League. What do you think about the beta being now public?
So it only got released today, and I haven't actually had time to play it and check it out. But I think it's a good step in the right direction. What I would like to see is advertisement on it. But I think maybe because it's still in the beta that they probably don't want to advertise that type of product. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to get it to iOS first, I feel like, as well.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, that is a huge audience of mobile users. And it seems that way. I'm actually surprised how many iPhone users there are. It's like, I feel like you're in Web3, but you have an iPhone. It seems like anti-intuitive to me. But
well, people are in Web3 for all sorts of reasons.
I understand that.
Not everyone in Web3 is like a decentralization maxi.
I understand. I was just making a bit of a joke, but
that being said, I have been considering switching from Apple, but it's scary because Apple is, I guess, known for having a very easy user experience, and a lot of people say that choosing the alternative, like Android, right?
So you got Google Pixels or a Samsung, or the top range, higher quality phones that I'm aware of.
For me,
I came from iPhone. I came from iPhone to Samsung, and it took me maybe 2 days to fully get adjusted. I just think people have familiarity bias, which is fine. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think Apple has our best interests at heart. When we're looking to see Web3 as the real alternative in the future. So I just think over time, if they don't change their ways, then people will probably want to change the, vote with their dollar on other products that align with their core values. So it's going to happen over time if they don't do something about it.
Can I spin this in another direction? Because watching all that information come out about Fortnite, seeing all those FLUF graphics in there, I mean, it's a little bit confusing. Is it just the ability to build in Fortnite? Or are we having NFTs in Fortnite? What's going on?
So around a week ago, the beta opened for the creator tool in Fortnite through Unreal Engine, which allows anybody to use that creator tool to create content or insert their Unreal Engine environments or characters, that sort of deal. So we've seen the team playing around with that. We saw Valle upload a Buzzy in there and show a Buzzy in that environment. And then we saw Jesse posting about, it looked like the Mystic Valley in that environment. So it's something that isn't related to it isn't directly related to NFTs. Anybody has the access to do it. Of course, not anybody has the ability to do something that is as, I guess, high quality as what the team obviously can do, having, really strong backgrounds in animation. But I wouldn't look into it as like, deal like any type of partnership with Fortnite or Epic Games or anything like that. It's just using the software. But it is cool how quickly our team can see a tool open and use what they already have in that tool.
I mean, it's another form of marketing, isn't it? I mean, it's important not to get confused over us partnering with Fortnite, especially when a lot of the team are posting about it and Aaron's retweeting it. But at the same time, if we can create an incredible landscape for others to play in and see all the amazing characters and stuff we've got, I mean, it's an advantage. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it does two things. With all the tools, they can, bring out a cool mini environment for people to get exposure to the eventual Third Kingdom. And it seems like that's going to be the intention. It'd be like a way of advertising the Third Kingdom through the Fortnite editor. And that's what we want. We want that type of marketing to get exposure to the real deal. And if they make something fun out of it and people want to be there, Fortnite did say that 40% of the revenue that they earn can go to the most popular islands that have the highest engagement. So it's pretty generous of them to give 40% of their revenue that they generate. And I don't know how much that gets distributed to each island or to each creator, but I guess those details will be ironed out as it becomes commonplace for people to play in these islands and experience them. Because I think there's a lot of building going on right now, but in the next 3 months, it's going to be a fun place to be for a gamer.
I think another important related topic is interoperability and the ability to move one's assets across different applications. And Fortnite being a popular application, if the team can, allow for that interoperability without using too many resources, then, why wouldn't they?
It'd be great to see them able to run parallel, where you had the option to play with NFT in Web3 or just play in Web2 as normal, like we've seen done with Grit. That would be a real great experience to show people. But at the same time, I saw a lot of the feedback regarding just the negativity towards NFTs still. There's a lot of people out there who don't want to learn, they don't want to know, they just want to hate it. And that'll take some time turning them around for sure.
Yeah, it will. In a lot of popular entertainment segments have negative thoughts on NFTs. Gaming is certainly one of them. One segment of entertainment that I'm really into, K-pop, is also very negative on NFTs. Some of the biggest companies in K-pop have released NFT platforms, but they don't seem particularly popular at the moment, and there's a lot of pushback on them as well. And I would say most segments of the population are anti-NFT. Music NFTs, go ahead.
Hey guys, I just had a little input, and I think Bometa, you probably can speak to this, being in the Gala ecosystem. I look at this Fortnite thing as a huge possibility, specifically for the scenes side of things. So if they're going to be creating 3D worlds within Fortnite, I think it will behoove us to go out and buy some V-Bucks and be ready to rally behind FLUF World in a big way when it comes to playing this game. Like personally, I don't play it. My kids play it, and now I'm gonna pick up that joystick and jump on it. But the bigger point to NFTs is, again, I'm a reference the Gala ecosystem as to where you can buy lands, and if somebody plays that game on your land, you actually earn revenue. So if Fortnite is switching into a space where, hey, if you have a popular map, we'll give the company 40%. And then if FLUF World turns around and says, hey, if you own this particular scene that is popular in this game, then we're going to give you revenues for it too. That creates a whole new utility for having scenes and sounds. So, Moment, I would love your opinion on that.
Oh no, he got rugged. He's coming back. I'm adding him back as a speaker right now.
You might have to repeat. We'll see.
We're having current technical difficulties. Please hold up while we get this organized.
Right.
Yeah, I'm back. I had to jump back off stage because I couldn't hear Music NFTs speaking. So by being a listener, I could. Look, I definitely have an opinion on this one, and it's good to have you in this space, brother. Obviously, we've got the music platform for Gala going live today. Maybe it's already gone live. And the Futureverse, one of their main verticals is music. I mean, Shah is raised in space. That's her bag. So how we utilize music, how we utilize land, all these sort of player-owned economies are really the grassroots of the future of this entire industry. As I said before, I didn't DG into any NFTs of cats and monkeys and things. I just really wanted to own the land. I wanted to own the music. I wanted to own the nodes, and I wanted to actually be able to, fire my music node up today, pair my songs with it, and every time someone listens to my song, I get revenue. That's the same thing I want to see from the Futureverse as well. We're doing the early yards. We're here early. We're doing it tough. We're all saying when, but with everything the Futureverse is building, they're adding that complexity layers to it and the partnerships to it. But the hardest part right now is just holding the hands of these huge IP partners to make sure they have a great experience. Because the last thing we want is to bring one of these massive partners in and their key customers not getting it, not understanding it. So if we really make sure, like with FIFA, like we put out a very simple game where there's very low risk to them and people enjoy playing the game, then they can look at doing other things in the future where they can have more exposure to the ecosystem at maybe where they has more influence over their customers. So yeah, I love what Gala are doing. And I know that Bucks and Aaron have spoken, and I'm hoping they do something together because both those communities and ecosystems have a lot to offer each other. And I know music and NFTs, you're in both, and I think you're a very smart man for being in both.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. But yeah, I'm personally, I'm super excited about this partnership because this thing with the what they released with Fortnite, that's a good chance that would tie into boroughs and the land that we acquired through that too. So, I'm gonna be looking out for a call with the leadership, and hopefully, if I'm not there, one of you guys pose those questions because I would love to know in advance, hopefully, if all this stuff will tie in that way.
Yeah, it'd be great to be in Fortnite and see a portal open up and go, hell yeah, I'm jumping through that, you know, and that's where we need to jump through into Walker World and wherever else we need to be with these partnering ecosystems, because that's the really exciting part. But patience, it's a patient person's game, and I'm up for that.
Apparently, Alex says he's here. I'm not seeing him on the stage.
I wonder if he's on a computer, because people can't speak on computers on Twitter Spaces. They can only speak from cellular phones. Why did I say cellular?
But surely we can still see his name as a guest listening.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I'm not. We'll have to ask Elon. In the meantime, what were we talking about? Well, let's say Alex was here. What would you ask him? Oh, Alex is on a computer.
He'd probably be talking about the graphic design side of Fortnite, I'd imagine. I'd hope he would.
He was talking in the smokers room on the Discord last night, Eastern time, very late into the morning, and I fell asleep. So I don't. Did anyone? Tybo, you were there. Did you want to maybe summarize some of the things that were discussed?
We talked a little bit about the merger, and how that's been a bit of a painful process, and we talked about marketing and how they don't want to just market when some of the products aren't really ready, and I could see where he's coming from, where I was like saying, if we just market to the Web3 crowd, we're just going to get more people winning, and it's not going to actually solve the problem of, you know, we're basically talking about the value of our NFTs are tied to the actual use and utility that is going to drive them to, you know, it's going to be real tangible value once they're being able to be used. And until that point, wasting money on marketing is kind of a fruitless exercise. But as soon as we can actually start using these NFTs and there's something we can do, then that's when they want to try and market, and their focus is on building and getting that tech out so they can market it when it's ready. And that was a big talking point on the conversation. And just generally, like, the sentiment with, like, you know, missed timelines and how you know they haven't been perfect, but I guess it's sort of coming from a place that at least I got from it was like nothing has fundamentally changed. I guess the price has, but, you know, Root is still coming. There's a lot of deliverables. You know, the Gods and Goblins is still coming by the end of this week, apparently. Like for summoning them, we got the last reveal of the Buzzies. The first stage of the third Kingdom white paper is going to be released. You know, Aaron mentioned expect Root. We're not sure exactly when, but all of this stuff is still coming. It's just, I guess, people are just generally getting tired of waiting, and we're just going to hang in there and trust that the team are going to continually deliver beautiful things like the Buzzies. When
we don't have to do that. We can choose to do that.
It's just, at the end, in my opinion, that it just comes down to, like, you know, what are you going to achieve by getting, like, tired and angry and complaining in the FLUF general Discord, when you can maybe just go on a holiday, have a break from the Discord, like, just keep 10% of your attention. If you're getting frustrated, I think you need to change your strategy. Everyone has a choice to do whatever they want, but fundamentally nothing has really changed. It's just the deliverables are just being delayed a little bit. So that was my takeaway.
Well, and another thing that's going on is the macro environment is scary for many.
Can I touch on that for a sec? Because
yeah,
this Ripple case could settle today or it could settle next week. That's how close we are.
You've been saying that for months, Mo Meta. And you've been saying that since you were Mo Meta Music.
I think
XRP is up
I think No Matter is right though.
XRP is up 40% in the last 2 weeks.
I actually covered that on the last show. It was up like a ridiculous amount in like the 24-hour chart.
Yeah, so from the beginning, I've been saying it could go for 2 years, go to the Supreme Court. I've had that long timeline on this one. But everyone right now who is worth listening to is very much, it could be today and it could be next week, but that is how close we are to a summary judgment. And that can change the whole landscape for everybody in this space. Flare got listed on Coinbase, so it had a Coinbase pump. There's still a lot of stuff happening at the moment, which is really positive. But to just touch on what Tybo was saying regarding Discord, with the Gala community and Gala Music, when they got pushed back on launch 3 months from the time they were supposed to launch till, well, today, I made it very clear to everybody and put a video out saying, now's a good time to take a break. You know it's not going to be for 3 months, so don't come back here every day. If you're not financially in a position to be buying the assets or, participating positively, take a break. Come back in 3 months. Come back when it's all ready to launch. And that's up to all of us to understand when we're at that stage and to just step back and say, I'm too emotionally involved right now, and, I'm here for fun. This whole Web3 side of things, because digital finance, it's not fun. It's lucrative, sure, but it's not a hell of a lot of fun. It's boring. Where Web3, I find it really exciting and intriguing, especially at the speed it moves. But if you're not feeling that vibe, then, as Tybo said, it's time to step back and reassess and come back when you're ready.
I hear you. I just feel like we shouldn't be too hard on people that, are stating their opinion or complaining even or whatever.
I guess the reason why I bring it up is because I've heard other people, questioning their thesis when people are fighting all the time. So it is weighing on people's conviction when they're seeing others fight all the time. So whether we like it or not, like it's not adding anything valuable to the community to constantly FUD the Discord.
But does it have to be? Like, you could just talk in the Discord about whatever you want, and it doesn't have to be something that people feel like they're adding value, subtracting value, having anything to do with value.
But if it's
they
making
might just
people
want to
convicting,
get something off their chest, and that's an avenue they have to do it. And while it's true that many people read the Discord, so it could affect other people, the people posting that clearly don't care. So I think that's okay.
I want to mention that the moderators in the FLUF World Discord are excellent because they don't jump on top of people for having to sharing their opinion. A lot of other Discords, the moment you start to have doubts, they'll shut you down and even ban you. So hats off to the FLUF World team to letting us all just have our voice, positive or negative, to say where we're at and letting us work through it. So it's not always healthy, but sometimes, it happens.
One of the goals of our show is to provide, words of truth, words of perspective, hear different opinions on different items. I will say there are a lot of NFT communities over the past 2 years that I've experienced, most of which have been short-lasting communities that could be eligible for the junk list next week or already are on the junk list, that have done things to suppress doubters or to suppress peoples that have voiced negative opinions. And I don't know, I really hope that we continue to not be like that at all. And if people want to write whatever they want to write in the FLUF Discord, unless it's like, something that is hurtful to somebody or dangerous in other ways, I hope we can be supportive to those people and let them feel heard and maybe combat any doubts with facts or opinions. But I hope we don't make people who are already feeling on edge to feel like even more upset about their experience. But inevitably that will happen in some cases. But I hope that maybe some of the listeners here can make the choice to be comforting and make people feel heard when it's possible. That was me on a soapbox.
No, it's all very valid, Max. It really is. And also that smokers room, having the ability for the team just to jump in there. And sometimes when stuff is written, it's so hard to keep up with it. It can be misconstrued. So getting that, the smokers room open and letting people just vocally share it. And to anyone out here who doesn't like to speak vocally, give it a try. It's not so bad. I see a lot of people, a lot of faces all the ways like in those rooms that don't have an opinion that I'm sure would love to speak. We don't bite. Come on up and say hi.
I guess the only gripe I have is someone that comes in and expresses their concerns, and then they come in the next day and repeat themselves again. And it becomes tiresome hearing that from the same person saying the same thing. And it's not, I can't do anything about what they're saying. I can't change their opinion because they don't want to change their opinion. And it just feels like they're venting their frustrations onto everyone else. And why should they be allowed to just continually do that? How is that fair for everyone else? That's where my gripe comes in. If they do it once every 3 months and they just vent because they didn't like something, that's perfectly normal. But like over and over again, it's just getting ridiculous, and it's not adding anything to the community. So I think as a person who's another general Discord participant, I think we also have a right to call those people out when it is getting over the top, and that's what all my stance is.
I hear you. And to be honest, the Discord vibes, have led me to spend less time there when I used to spend a lot of time there. And I could definitely look at it from a perspective of, well, I like to spend my time in this place, and other people are saying things that make me not want to spend my time here, and maybe that I was here first, and so I should have the ability to do that without having the vibes turned down. But then I thought to myself, I live in a country that is free speech. Most of the Western world believes in free speech. Most of the free world believes in free speech, with the exception of some countries that are not very representative in the crypto culture that don't believe in free speech. Most people believe in free speech. And so, I just got to be okay with it, I guess. And if I want to spend less time there, which is kind of what I did, then that's my choice. And if I want to try to encourage people that keep issuing, like, discussing their concerns, or maybe saying things that I don't agree with, I have the right to do that too. But I don't know, I think we should try hard to lift each other up and get along, and not bicker at one another if we don't need to. Of course we have the right to do that too, but I don't know, just some general thoughts.
So Max, what are you most excited about in the space at the moment?
Well, I've been most excited to see the root network as described in the white paper, with all of those functionalities that are described in the white paper in practice, in use. I would like to see them be activated to the point where somebody that has a game or some type of project that is deciding which chain to be on, because let's say it's like a product that needs to use a lot of transactions, so using Ethereum is not an option. So right now they're choosing between Arbitrum or Polygon or Immutable X or Solana, or the rest of the options that people have available to them. I would like to see root become an option by being in use with all those features. That's my main priority.
It's that in use thing. Sorry, I'm just walking through the house. I'm really excited to get to the point where they encourage me to log into my Futureverse wallet every day to perform something to earn root. Maybe I just have to go into my burrow and turn on the TV and log onto Discord or do something. But when we get to the stage where I'm encouraged to participate on a daily basis, that's what I'm really excited about. I can't wait for them to bring in some mechanic that requires me to even play a simple game or transfer something and just be actively involved that way. I hope that comes soon.
Hey, Mometa. LV50 just shared that Monica Long and Ken Cron have been updated to the Futureverse directors in the New Zealand company register. Do you know who Monica Long is?
The head of
she's
Ripple.
She's the head of Ripple, dude. Yeah, Monica Long. She's when you look at Brad Garlinghouse being the CEO, Monica Long is sort of the next in charge. She is driving all the business side of it. So yeah, that's incredible news, dude. That's massive.
Just want to point out that it's not an official announcement, but rather something that is available on government website, which, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think that's just as trustworthy as an announcement.
It is. I just wanted to point that out. Also, I've seen some threads trying to discuss Ken Cron. Maybe on a different show we can get into that. It's an interesting topic. I'm not prepared enough to talk about it, though.
I thought today's show was an amazing show, man. That having Jerome on and breaking down all that information we got out this morning, that answered so many questions for me. And to all you guys for asking those questions, mate. We really unpacked it in a really clean, precise way. And I thought it was really well measured.
We all need to give a big shout out to Somnium for making that happen and for arranging pretty much all the guests that come on the show. So some reactions of love for Somnium would be great.
Yeah, I love Max Poker's show. It's great.
Rude.
It's called Down the Rabbit Hole, sir.
Down the rabbit hole with Max Poker. No, awesome work. Thanks. Appreciate you bringing on these awesome guests. Yeah. So, what do you mean about Ken Cron and it being like this big rabbit hole to go down on? Like, I know he's connected to Animoca Brands and Cool Cats, but what were you implying when you said that?
I don't feel prepared to discuss it because I have too much knowledge gap. I wonder if someone in the audience would. Otherwise, we can talk about it next week.
Well, I mean, FV Cool Cats is part of the partnership roll-up. That's on paper. I've seen that. So that's all I know.
Yeah, same. And NFT Nick, Ken Cron acquiring Futureverse and rolling up all these companies and basically stealing the IP. Like that was the headline from NFT Nick, which was bullshit. But
but there have been some people that have actually done research and have put together Twitter threads. I don't remember how to see them again or search for them. So I don't know how to pull that up right now. But I have seen at least 2 threads that I found to be good in saying what they knew and what they didn't know about Ken Cron and about the connection with Cool Cats and Futureverse. And none of that has anything to do. Well, Nick might be discussed in the articles because of, what you just said, but he's not a reporter. He's I don't know what he is.
I don't know what he is. Yeah, he doesn't really do the research. I think he just loves like reading something, like maybe half of reading something and then making his own assumptions up.
Well, you said that, not me. All right. Usually at this time, we like to wrap up our show. But does anyone from the audience, do they have any questions or concerns they wanted to bring up? And if not, does anyone that's currently a speaker have any final words?
Nah, I'm good. I've said everything I need to say this week, Max. And Som, thanks for having me up and having Jerome on. That was awesome.
Thanks for hopping on
Goblin.
stage.
Alex said goblins should be minting by the end of this month. He said it, he confirmed it in the Discord. So if anyone's wondering about that.
And I
other
just,
than that, yeah.
One thing that I would love to not see this time is people acting very concerned on like on March 31st if they're not there yet. Like, can we, if people want to complain, can we at least wait till after the deadline this time? Thank you in advance.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Sorry, just had to put that out there. Sam, a last word from you.
Yeah, just excited for what we got going on and lots of updates coming and goblins here soon. So
what about Seekers?
Exciting stuff.
Seekers, Som, when are we going to be swapping those parts out? What's going on?
It's coming. It's more of like aligning it all with Futureverse and getting our nodes running. Nodes first, part swapping after. But nodes will be in the coming months. So
I know I burnt a lot of those little suckers, but happy birthday for yesterday to all the Seekers out there, huh?
Oh, should we have had a party?
yeah, it was a little weird timing because we had junking at the same time. But yeah, we'll be hosting some stuff around our birthday event, but it'll be in the week or two afterwards. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome.
But yeah, we'll be doing some mission board updates and kind of where we're at here soon. So excited for that.
Great. So I want to thank everyone that is listening to our show, whether live or recorded. Thanks to everyone that participated, and a big thanks to Jerome for coming on our show and answering all our questions so eloquently and so greatly with lots of expertise. I thought he was such a great guest today. And we'll be back in the future or next week with more shows. So please attend. And thanks everyone for supporting us. And our show, as always, will be available to be listened to. The recording will be available as soon as this show ends in a minute. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Blaze up. Have a good one, everybody.